Welcome to another tactical review. This game is between Theoman222 with the 6th Airborne and Winters with the 91st Luftlandr. And the map is Saint-Mère-Eglise Duellists. Now, the characteristics of this map, the southern field here really is wide open. A lot of people tend to ignore it. They'll aggregate some of their troops here to in this hedgerow here, and the east side here will usually put somebody in this hedgerow here, and usually not much else. Maybe one of these stands of green trees along the way, but we probably won't expect to see too much in this southern area. Now the northern area is a little bit more interesting because there's this U-shaped field with some buildings in the middle, and there is usually a lot of activity in those buildings, but it usually is limited once you reach one edge or another. Now the primary focus of this map is going to be the town. Now as we can see here from Theoman, he's only sending one unit down to the bottom, and here we have a Pathfinder coming in already to bomb the road junction. Now this is very good because if it gets lucky, didn't get too lucky, but this kind of attack will definitely slow down the entry into the town, which is, like I was going to say, the main focus of this map. It encompasses more than 50% of the map, and it is going to be what we're going to be focusing on during this match. The south side really has hardly anybody down there, so we won't expect too much during that game, during this game. And the northern side does have a lot more troops on it, but still it's going to be primarily this middle area of the town here. Now when Theoman did that bombing run, it was very nice. It really delayed the troops, and that's what you really want to expect from something that early. And what Theoman should have done is really capitalized on that. He knew he was going to do it, so he should have fast moved his troops into this area here of the town. Now he didn't manually walk them up, so that is pretty good there. Looks like he sees the whole weight of the army coming against him, so he is retreating somewhat. He only has that one unit there. Now in a town fight, what is really important is to have a leader unit. Now unfortunately the first off-map artillery barrage from Winters actually ended up taking out Theoman's leader, so he is at somewhat of a disadvantage. Now, it looks like Winters here is bringing up this flamer here to try to make some ground. Now, these are very brittle units, and they go down very quickly. So he needs to probably bring up some of the Osttruppen to give some assist and distract from the airborne paras. But yeah, there we go. Right, just in less than a second, that flamer just went out. Now, it looks like Winters is slowly coming back to where his starting positions would be, and he is bringing an off-map in. So let's see where this next off-map shot goes. There's really not much that he can be using the off-map for at the moment, but he probably doesn't see that with his vision. Let's see what Winters can see. It's not too much, so really he'd be guessing if he used that off-map placement. Now, what is interesting to see here is that Theoman has 2 mortars. Now these mortars really are only shooting at infantry and buildings, it looks like. The primary benefit of having a mortar unit is for suppression and also for the capacity to prioritize certain targets such as AA or AT guns. Now if he, oh, there comes another off-map. Those are the really large caliber. Now we do see that he did lose that one mortar, but he's got another one. It looks like he's just going to be shooting at the infantry and buildings, which is probably not the best use of it. Right now, looks like he wants to try to hit this Osttruppen in the building. And we'll see here that it's just gonna, or actually a Fallschirmjäger in the building. It's just basically going to cause a little bit of suppression, if very minimal, against an elite unit. Now we can see here he's firing this mortar basically an empty tree. Now, to be in all fairness, he probably doesn't see where it's shooting at, but a mortar is, again, primarily used to suppress and not to kill enemy troops in that manner. Now back to the neutral perspective, we do see this Fallschirmjäger trying to engage the airborne paras, and since he was moving them around in the open, they got caught out and quickly surrendered. Now these two units are also out in the open, and it's probably worth his while to actually move this unit just straight into the building right here to try to get some extra additional benefit from the building. The building does give additional benefits to bullets, which is basically an infantry battle that's going on right here. Looks like the Pathfinder aircraft did come back in here and dropped his bombs. Now, what we want to see is a follow-up. After a artillery strike off map or a bombing run such as this, we want to see a follow-up to try to get some surrenders, and that's what he's doing right here. He is bringing his airborne para forward to see what he can get surrendered. Now, there really is nothing in there left. Everything is retreated. Even these tanks stood in the flames a little bit and have gotten retreated. Now, the mortar again here is basically just shooting at infantry and buildings, which is really not an efficient use. And here in the south, still nothing is going on like we mentioned. Another flamer is coming up to see what he can do, and this AA unit is really causing havoc to these Osttroopen in the front here. AA units are excellent against infantry, but they are very susceptible to mortar fire, which is one of the priority targets you should be using for your mortars or artillery. Looks like up here in the north there is a IG-18, and the IG-18 has a very good field of fire. It has it's shooting out to its max range at 1,000 meters. That makes it a very good placement. Usually with IG-18s you want to make sure they have very far long sight lines. This one is basically not really doing much, but there's really nothing to move it up to as of yet. Here in the town, it looks like this airborne paras is going against the Fallschirmjäger, which is going to be going in favor of the one that's in the building because of the extra additional defensive bonus from buildings from bullets. You can see that he's falling back. There is a slight bonus to falling back, which means he's probably going to get away without too much additional damage. Additional troops coming into the town. Now he wants to try to get these into some sort of building without just leaving them in the street. And here he is leaving them in the street. That is really not good. He needs to get them into a building as soon as possible, or you can see that they're going to get pinned down right away, just like we saw there. Two AA units on the field. That is going to be very good for this infantry fight, especially putting them on the outskirts of the town. That is going to be an excellent use of the AA. Winters is bringing in a mortar at this time, and with his experience with his Osttroopen getting shot to pieces, let's hope that he prioritizes the fire onto the AA, which we can see here. Now, AA does take additional damage from artillery, so we should see this as a very efficient use. Here comes the first shot right away. Very, very good damage. There's a Fallschirmjäger joining in, but 2 shots and that was dead. Perfect, efficient use, even for a very small 50mm mortar. Very easily takes that out. Now, it does look like Winters has full control of the town now, and is pushing him back. The IG-18 is moving up, which is going to get a very good field of view in this hedgerow, and it will be shooting out to 1,000 meter range. That's really what you want these HE infantry support units doing, is firing at their max range, because unlike AP improves the closer you get, but with HE shells, their damage is the same whether you are shooting out to 1,000 meters or you're shooting up close at 100 meters. So usually you want these to be shooting up as far out as possible, and that way you stay out of range of any sort of return fire, especially MG fire. Now, it looks like a Tetrarch is coming up to challenge these two tanks that Winters has, but an HS-129 is coming in to try to take care of that Tetrarch. Unfortunately, it didn't get that. Winters is being very aggressive with his infantry moving forward. That is very nice to see. He could be using some of his mortar smoke there to try to conceal some of this, but he's not really taking any incoming fire, so seems to be fairly good assault. He suppressed him. Now there is no leader unit, so he could be able to get this surrender if he continues to move this forward just a little bit more, just to get within into close combat range, and that unit should surrender. What he really needs, Winters really needs now, is some sort of fire support, which he could be doing with this mortar, but it is getting a little bit out of range. He wants to bring that a little bit closer up, it looks like. Pathfinder comes in with a devastating strike with this napalm, and this Fuhrer is going to probably burn to death before it gets out of those flames. Very aggressive movement forward. He's lacking in any sort of fire support. They have the tanks perhaps to help support these infantry. This infantry push, it's a naked infantry push here. Really needs to get some sort of fire support. Even bringing the mortar forward would be nice. Really large salient forming here. That is going to give him +3 on board for points. He has secured this hedgerow, it looks like. He just needs to bring some of these supporting units forward. Now the IG-18 is perfectly placed because it does have a wide field of view here, and it is at max range. These Panzer 39s could possibly come forward a little bit more to help support anything over on this side, because IG-18 won't be able to see that. A unit coming forward. This would be very nice to help support this infantry, probably in this tree line right here, though. Looks like he's going to leave it a little farther back. Looks like that leader unit actually ended up surviving. He's pretty lucky. Now the map seems to pretty much be in Winters' favor, so I really don't see too much chance of Theoman coming back at this point. But it should be interesting to see how Winters secures his line here. He's got a very nice row of infantry here in the north in the tree line. That is very nice. The fire support from the IG-18 is a little bit too far back at this point. Probably needs to bring it up into this hedgerow right here to accomplish much of anything. So it looks like Winters is really pushed too far forward for his supporting fire support. Now it looks like Theoman is pushing forwards with a couple Tetrarchs here. They should be able to do a fairly decent job against these Panzer 39s. The Tetrarch only has 3 accuracy. The Command Tetrarch has 4 accuracy, which is very poor. Now the Panzer 39s do have greater accuracy in that regard, so it is a fairly even matchup, but it looks like Winters is repositioning these down to the south to address this incoming Tetrarch. 2 to 1 in this regard will be very good for these units, and let's see if they get these shots off with a little bit higher accuracy. These are 5 accuracies, approximately 50% chance to hit against 4 accuracy, which is approximately a 40% chance to hit. Looks like he's backing those off. Crew knocked out. really needs to move forward some of this fire. Winters really needs to move forward some of this fire support to really support this infantry. That infantry there got chewed apart very quickly. If he had moved this AA piece up into this tree line here, he would have had perfect fire support at this point. Now these Panzer 39s, they don't really have too much in terms of fire support. Their HE value is only 1, which is very minimal. And if he wants to use this MG as fire support, he's going to have to get a little bit closer. Actually, that's just within range here, so it's a 600-meter range. Just within range, makes it nice. And a devastating off-map artillery strike comes in from Theoman. This entire position has been blown apart. No real fire support here to worry about, obviously, now. So he's also gotten pushed out of this hedgerow near the top, too. Where is his IG-18? Now, since he didn't move this IG-18 forward, it does look like it's going to be in the perfect position now to pin down all these troops. And then there is the anti-infantry support coming in from the AA, so nice fire support up here in the top. Very good with this 2 IG-18s here, going to pin down these troops very quickly. Down here in the middle, these 2 fire support units, the mortar and the AA unit, really need to get a little bit further forward and maybe even into this tree line. Here in the south, it looks like Winters is bringing a little bit more units here to try to contest the southern portion. And we do have these 2 Panzer 39s to act as fire support. Looks like Theoman has brought forward an AT gun, and Winters is nicely bringing those behind the hedgerow here. Now there is a howitzer from Theoman coming in, and that howitzer just looks like it's going to be... Oh, off-map comes in now, so... Off-map strike from Theoman is pinning down all these units, and he is nicely moving these units forwards to try to get a capture. That is what you want to see after an off-map artillery strike, is try to move forward to get the capture. Of course, you have to be careful not to have your artillery strike come down on your head, but it looks like that was a very nice move there. Now this Tetrarch is moving forward. He's going to have to be very careful about what happens with these 2 Panzer 39s behind this hedgerow here. He could be bringing forward the 6-pounder here and possibly get around this edge here and be able to shoot on these 2. Good fire support here from this AA unit. Anything coming through and spotted in this hedgerow is going to get chewed to pieces by this AA unit. Great anti-infantry. Same thing with this one. If it could just move a little bit more forward to be able to at least see this hedgerow or move it forward into this hedgerow, that would be perfect. Nice fire support from up top again. Looks like he did lose one of the IG-18s, but still with an IG-18 and this AA piece, any kind of infantry is going to get chewed to pieces with that type of fire support. Stu-42 is coming forward for additional fire support down here in the south. So very nice fire support in all 3 sectors, top, middle, and bottom of the map coming from Winters. Looks like Theoman is trying to use his howitzer. Now, priority target will be the AA unit, which is what he's doing. Let's see what that strike does. Took off, it looks like four men, and one of these next one is going to kill this unit. AA units do take additional damage from artillery strikes. 3 shots and it was dead. Perfect use of this howitzer. Very nice. So it's a trade-off. The AA pieces make excellent anti-infantry units, but they also are highly susceptible to artillery damage. And also HE, direct fire HE, and indirect artillery. Both of those cause additional damage to AT guns and AA pieces. We can see with this fire support up here, like predicted, it just has chewed apart this infantry. So those two are really still in place. Those are probably going to be some high damage heroes here in the scoreboard at the end. Now it looks like Theoman is bringing forward his 6-pounder. Looks like he's trying to bring it forward. Should be able to see this Panzer 39 once he gets a little bit closer, but he's peeled it off over onto the left side here, going to this hedgerow. It's going to be a very close shot, but it's been spotted by Winter's units just moving in the open, and it's getting attacked that way. Now if Winters was to bring this a little bit closer, he should be able to spot it if he brings it over this way, just along this hedgerow. This artillery strike is coming in onto the infantry, which should pin it down fairly quickly. Maybe not actually kill it though. Only one man left, so let's see how that goes. Probably it'll get killed off by one of the infantry. Oh, there it goes. Looks like maybe, what was it, the Tetrarch that killed it? Further infantry coming forward. He's probably going to want to watch what happens when this the scout picks his head across the hedgerow. All this is going to start opening up, and just quickly delete that. Looks like he just got past that just in time. Martyr 2 coming in the far rear here. Not sure what he's trying to do with that. He must have forgotten about it. Up in the north, it looks like some artillery units. Another howitzer is coming down onto the approximate area, it looks like, for this AA piece. So we can see the AA piece is chewing apart the infantry again very nicely, and Theoman does appear to be trying to target that AA piece for the additional bonus damage. Looks like a lot of Winter's units here in the center have either migrated to the south or been killed off. Really not too many targets for this Martyr 2 in the middle of the town. If he's planning just to use a Martyr 2 against these Tetrarchs, it's maybe a little bit overkill. He could have continued with some of those Panzer 39s. Here's one of them. Looks like the other one is already dead. Cromwell 5 moving forward right behind the tree line. Let's see what he's going to try to probably pop out there and maybe try to really shoot at much of anything, so there's really not very good target for this Cromwell. The Martyr here is acting as fire support, probably not the most efficient use for an anti-tank unit, but better than nothing. Really stuns up these air landing infantry. All that fire, all those infantry's getting their MGs on target. Scouts coming forward again just to get shot. Let's see what happens here. Winters sees that right away and is going to kill that. Off-map artillery strike in the middle, and Theoman surrenders. So, pretty good battle here. Let's see, the score was fairly even in terms of kills. Theoman wasn't as aggressive in the middle of the town with that initial Pathfinder strike to capitalize it, and it looks like he just got frustrated with the point differential here. Now, in terms of kills, it looks like this off-map artillery really did a nice job. So that seems to be the hero unit here. That one, if I recall, was the one that was actually pushing back the push in the center, where Winters really pushed way past the town, and then the naval battery strike came in and killed those units that was holding that area there. Let's see what Winters had. Some naval the naval battery. This one was from it looks like from the near the very beginning, where he took the town with it, where he killed that airborne leader with that very first strike. IG-18, very well placed. This was probably the one in the north that just was at the perfect level perfect distance to get 1,000-meter hits out there with that HE. And again, you want to probably try to keep your infantry, your HE fire support units outside of MG range, so 600 to 1,000 meter range. Well, that's it for this week. I will talk to you next week.